This is the moment nobody explains to you. A bird the size of your hand is drinking a buffalo's blood, and the buffalo lets it happen. This buffalo weighs almost a ton. It could kill a lion. It cannot swat a 60-gram bird off its own neck. The bird doesn't move. For over a century, biologists called this a friendship. New research says it's closer to a deal, and the buffalo may be the one losing. Why does the strongest animal on the savannah put up with this? Stay with us. Meet the yellow-billed oxpecker. It is 20 centimeters long and weighs about 60 grams, less than a smartphone. It almost never lands on the ground. Its whole world is the surface of a much larger animal. That animal is the Cape buffalo. An adult bull can weigh up to 870 kilograms. It's considered one of the most dangerous animals in Africa. Buffalo live in herds of 50 to 500 animals. In the Serengeti, some herds have been counted above 1,500. Wherever the herd goes, the birds go with it. In field surveys, buffalo hosted more than half of all yellow-billed oxpecker sightings, 56%. The birds do move between hosts often, but the Cape buffalo is their most common home on the savannah. So why would 870 kilograms put up with 60 grams? The answer starts with something small enough to miss. This is a tick. Unfed, it's barely 3 millimeters wide. After days of feeding on blood, it swells to 15 millimeters. They gather where the buffalo can't reach: ears, groin, the base of the tail. This is where the oxpecker goes to work. Its claws are built for this. Long, curved, made to grip loose hide. Its bill is a tool too. Thick, flattened, made for prying. A single bird can take up to about 100 blood-swollen ticks in a day. Or, if it's feeding on larvae instead, many thousands in one sitting. For the buffalo, that should sound like relief. One bull can carry hundreds of ticks at a time, researchers estimate. Left alone, that load drains blood and spreads disease. So the herd moves through mud wallows, trying to smother them. The mud dries into armor within hours. But mud can't reach inside the ears or under the tail. That's the gap the oxpecker fills. For a few hours, the count on his skin actually drops. But out on the grass, the next generation of ticks is already waiting to climb aboard. The ticks keep coming back. And the oxpecker isn't the only bird trying to cash in. This is the red-billed oxpecker, a close cousin and a competitor. Both species want the same real estate, the same buffalo. When they land too close, it turns into a fight. Neither bird backs down easily. There's too much food at stake. The buffalo barely notices. It has bigger problems. As the sun goes down, most of the herd beds down for the night. The oxpeckers don't leave. They roost right where they've been feeding. A bird this small loses heat fast in the open. The buffalo's body is a heater, so even sleep is spent riding another animal's body. By morning, the itching has built up. The bull tries to scrape the birds off against a tree. It works on flies. It doesn't work on this bird. The neck and the ears are the one place the buffalo's own body can't defend. No horn reaches there. No tail reaches there either. That blind spot is exactly where the birds concentrate. And that's where the first real damage starts to show. A tick bite heals in days if it's left alone. This one hasn't healed. It's been reopened. The oxpecker isn't just removing what's already there anymore. It's making sure there's always something left to feed on. This is the part the old story leaves out. The bird that clears the parasites is also creating one. So what does the buffalo actually get out of this deal? To understand the trade, scientists had to watch what the birds actually eat. Researchers examined the stomach contents of oxpeckers directly. In one study, over 21,000 ticks were recovered from just 53 birds. That's proof the birds do eat huge numbers of parasites. But it's not the whole diet. For adult birds, ticks make up less than half of what's actually swallowed. For chicks back in the nest, the number is worse. Parents feed their chicks whatever they've gathered from the host that day. Scientists measured exactly what that food was made of. Just under half was ticks. But 35% of a chick's diet was hair and tissue pulled straight from a living host. The birds that grow up to be the buffalo's groomers are partly built from the buffalo itself. That's the number this whole story turns on. Field studies have tracked what happens to wounds the birds keep visiting. Wounds that oxpeckers keep reopening take longer to close. In studies on cattle, the bird's presence didn't even reduce the overall tick count. So the relationship isn't simply good for one side and bad for the other. Scientists now describe it on a sliding scale. Mutualism at one end, parasitism at the other. Where it lands depends on the season, the region, and how many ticks are out on the grass. In a bad tick season, the birds tip toward helpful. When ticks are scarce, the birds tip toward the wound instead. But there's a second half to this deal, and it's the reason the buffalo keeps the birds around at all. It's almost evening. The light is dropping fast. Something is moving through the grass at the tree line. A lioness, stalking, low, using the grass as cover. The buffalo herd hasn't seen her yet, but the birds on their backs have a better vantage point than any buffalo eye at ground level. The oxpecker sees her first, and it doesn't stay quiet. A sharp, harsh alarm call, completely different from its normal feeding sounds. In a related study, black rhinos with oxpeckers on their backs were about 4 times as likely to detect an approaching person as rhinos without them. That study measured rhinos, not buffalo. But the same warning system is riding on every back in this herd tonight. The nearest bull turns toward the sound. Within seconds, the whole herd has the same information. Cape buffalo don't scatter from a threat like this. They close ranks. Calves and cows move to the center. Bulls turn to face outward. Horns now point toward the grass where the lioness is hiding. A lone lioness against a wall of buffalo horns has almost nothing to gain. She holds still. Then she backs off. The herd stays locked in formation a few minutes longer, just in case. Only then do the birds settle back down and go right back to the same wound they were working before the alarm. This is the trade in full. The bill that reopens the wound is the same bill that just saved the herd. So is this friendship? Not quite. Is it parasitism? Not quite that either. It's a deal with a floating exchange rate. In a bad tick season, the bird is nearly pure benefit. When ticks are scarce, the same bird leans harder on the wound. And every dusk, when a predator moves through the grass, the balance tips back in the buffalo's favor. That's a price the buffalo seems willing to keep paying. Because the alternative, no sentinel, no warning call, costs more. As night falls, the herd settles again. And the oxpecker settles too. Right back on the same body it depends on completely. It has nowhere else to go. It never did. Tomorrow, the same wound will still be there. And the same bird will be back at it. Not a fairy tale, just Africa, working out its own math. Subscribe for more untold stories of the wild.